Hi everyone, this is Ubaid Khan. I am going to teach you science subjects, and today we will start our first session with the chapter of chemistry. The name of the chapter is Matter and its Composition. So, this is going to be our first chapter of chemistry. So, what we will discuss in this chapter, the definition of the matter, and matter has a mass and occupies space. That is explanation all we will discuss about in this chapter. Composition of the matter, in brief we will just introduce in this chapter. So I request all the students just take a pen or pencil or notebook, and whatever the important points you like, just write down this, and whatever the question I will give you at the end of this session, so you can write down the important question, you can write the answers while you are sitting in the home, so you can do these exercises which can be improve your knowledge. So we will start with this chapter, matter and its composition. So in this, first of all, what is let just discuss about introduction. So in our day to day life, when we are just looking around our area or our houses, so what we can see, we can see the different objects, or we can see different things like water, soil, stones, minerals, plants, animal, etc. Some are living things, some are non living things. That part we have already discussed in our previous classes. What is make the difference between living and non living thing. But here we have to just discuss about the matters that is made for the living thing and that is made for non living thing, each and every. Whatever the thing we are or the things we are looking around us, so what are the things which is made to this kind of the different items or different things. So we also use the innumerable objects like in our day to day lives, like I am using this notebook, pens, bags while you are going to school. We are going in the car, we are using the shoe, we are wearing the clothes, we are eating the food, we are drinking the water. So many things we are using in our day to day life from morning to the evening. So what actually these all the things, and who made this kind of the things, that we will discuss in this chapter. So let's see on the next page, and what is just discussing in the next page. So these things we can be just differentiate, how we can differentiate this all the things on the basis of the shape, size, hardness, softness, then living like plant and animals, or while some are non living like water, soil. Now we are going to just distribute what are the living things, whatever the things we are using from morning to evening, which are the living things, which are the non living things. We are eating some food that are the coming from the living thing. We can see some plants, we can see some animal, we are the animals. And we are using books, notebooks, pen, pencil, car, vehicles, we are wearing a cloth. So these all are come under the non living things. So some are natural like minerals. Now we can be divided into the natural and man made. So if you talk about the minerals in the water, air, living beings, while something are non made or man made like books, pencil, houses, etc., or cars or bikes. So such things can be made by the man, that is called the man made, and we are using that also. And some are we are taking from the nature, from the natural, so that is going to the man made things. So both the things we are using from day to day life. But the question is, what makes these substances? They are made by which kind of the substances? So the answer is matter. Everything what we are using from morning to evening, that is made by the matter, right? And in fact the food we eat, the clothes we wear, the books we are reading, and the chair on which we are sitting, and the car we are just driving, so everything they are made by the different materials. Everything is made by material, raw material. We are saying this is the raw material from which so and so things are made. So that is a raw material, but the raw material made by the matter only, right? So matter is the quantity or the things which made all the raw materials, and from the raw materials our things are made. Whatever the things we are using in our day to day life, that is made by the matter, right? And that is, we can also say, the material or raw material which made by the matter. So now we have to keep in mind what is matter, because we are telling everything is made by the matter. So we have to see the definition of the matter here now. So the definition we can write in your books also. The matter is anything that has mass and occupy the space. What is matter? Matter is anything that having the mass. It is have the mass, its mass, and it is occupy the space and can be perceived by our sense. These are the all matter we can be divided into this kind of the things. Either it is having the mass, otherwise it occupy the space, and at least we can be feel it, perceived it by our sense, right? If you can take the example of air, we cannot see the air, but we can feel it, right? So that is the things which give the definition of the matter. And now, so that means of the matter is not only which we can see or touch, but also we can feel like air, and we cannot see the air, but we can touch air, but we can feel it, right? We cannot touch the air, but we can feel it. So when we are talking about the liquid and solid material, so we can see and we can touch also. But while we are talking about the air, so we cannot see or touch the air, but we can feel it. We can feel the air is blowing in our around. So air is also still a matter. Air is also made by a matter. So everything is made by the matter, but it is divided into different types. Now we can take the example of water, sugar, alcohol, milk, gold, coal, hydrogen, oxygen, rocks, all matter because all of them have a mass and occupy the space, right? Water also having the mass and occupy the space, sugar, alcohol, milk. So whatever the things we are talking about, in which several are the solid material, several gases, and several are the liquid, but all will occupy the means all having the mass and occupy the space. So this is the basic definition for the matter. So in that we can be divide all the things, whether it is solid, whether it is gas, whether it is liquid. So each and everything should be go into the matter, and with the matter the things will made, or the things we are using, that is natural or man made, they are made by the matter, right? So does matter of only one kind exist? Now there is a question, okay, there is the matters are there, but all are the one kind, or there are the different types of the matter are there? So no, there is a different kinds of the matter are present. A chair is made up of wood, book is made up of paper, bucket is made up of the plastic, etc. So whatever the things we are using in our day to day life, that are made by a different kind of the matter. So hence it is proof there is not only one kind of the matter, there are several kind of the matter, because so many things we are using from day to day, means from morning to evening. So all are having a different kind of the matter. Raw material are different. The different material used for making the chair, the different material using for making our books or pen. So that is why we can be divide the matters into the different kinds, and there are several kind of the matter are there we can be see in our day to day life. Now there is one means activity you can also say, that is you have to write, and I request all the students just write down in your notebook. You have to write the two objects made up of each of the following material. These are the 5 material, name of the material which are written in your book, and you have to write 5 example what are made by this kind of the materials. You have to write 2 objects that are made by metals. You can write 2 objects that are made by the wool, 2 objects from cloth, and 2 objects from plastic, and 2 from leather. So these are the whatever the things you can write you are using from in your day to day life, that are made by this kind of the material or this kind of the matter. So you just write the example of like if you have to write the example of metal. So what are the things are made by the metal, you can write your chair also sometime you are made by the metal, sometime you can write your doors. So whatever the things is there which made by the metal, you just write, and again the wool, cloth, plastic, leather. So that is activity for you. Now we will start. The matter has mass and occupy the space, because in the beginning only we have discussed whatever or the anything that matter that have the mass and occupy the space. So how it will we can be know more in detail. So this can be proved by the following activity. So activity always are given here, because with the help of the activity we can easily understand what we are going to means learn in this chapter. So in this what you have to do, that it's very simple activity. In that actually you have to take 2 glass and just pour the glass 1/3 of with the water, both the glasses, and then what you have to do, just mark the level, up to the level where the water is rich. Then in the first glass you have not added anything, but in second glass or before that you have to just weight both of the glass after adding the water, right? Before just weight the water, water glass empty, then add the water, then again weight what are the weight of the glass, then again in first glass just add several marbles you have to add there. So while you are adding the marbles, you can also see the marbles are going and settling into the bottom of the glass. So what will happen here, after some times you will notice the water level cross the mark line. When you are adding the marbles, you just observe here, this is the actual marking of your water line, and now after adding this marbles the water becomes go upward. So this is the distance the water traveled, this much of the quantity water will be go up. So what is the reason? Because our marbles is a solid material, they are made by the solids, and we have already said anything that have the mass and occupy the space. So when you are taking when you are adding the marbles, the water level will increase, that means it is having the, it occupy the space, because whatever the space is occupied by the marbles that will be rise, and this is the you can say the addition of the water level from the marking level, that is occupied, the space is occupied by the marbles. And the other thing, when you are weighing to that, when you weight before adding the water and after adding the water, so you will also find the increase in the weight, again the weight the glass with the marbles, and you will find that the second mass greater than the first one. It proves the marbles have the mass. So that is why it is proving the two things. One, the marble, after adding the marbles the weight is increased, and after adding the so when the weight will increase, then you will say that it is having the mass. Because of the mass the weight will be becoming more, and because of the marble will occupy the space, so water level will increase. So whatever the level will increase, that is space occupied by the our marbles. So that is why this proves that the matter has mass and occupy the space, because our marbles that is made by such kind solid material, or it is having also the matter, solid matter. So with the because of that matter it happened. So this is suitable for our definition what we have said, it's have the mass and occupy the space, right? So that is why the activities are given, then we can understand in detail. Now we will just discuss about several points. The quantity of the matter that a body contain is known as its mass. Whatever the quantity are there of the matter that body contains, suppose in glass you have added such kind of several 1 liter of the water or half liter of the water. So whatever the quantity of the matter are containing inside the body, means what is the body now? Here the glass is the body, in the glass you are adding the water, so that is a matter. So how much water you are adding into the water, into the glass, that is called its mass. So the quantity of the matter that a body contains, any body which is containing such amount of the matter or quantity of the matter, so that quantity is called the mass, right? So and so quantity are added into so and so body, so that is the mass of that body. And the space occupied by a body is called its volume. Whatever the space is occupying, that is called its volume. Like in this glass, this much amount, this much space will be occupied by this glass, so this is called its volume, right? And whatever the ml of the water is adding into that, that is called its mass. So that is the difference between mass and space. So space occupied by a body is called the volume, right? So whatever amount of the water is added into the glass, that is the volume of that glass. So now if we hold objects in our hand, then we can also feel their mass. When you are holding some books, or when you are holding some bags in your hand, so you just feel the mass. What is the mass of that objects? When you are holding, you can feel it. And hold a book and while feel its mass. When you are holding some books, you can feel the mass. So that is whatever the pressure you are feeling, that is called the mass of that objects. So that you can feel by taking the books in your hand. On the next page there is one more activity given to know what is a mass, right? So we are already we have seen that the mass will occupy the space, right? So in this activity we will also understand how the mass will occupy the space, right. So, we are taking the example of two glasses. What you have to do in this activity, just take a glass and one glass should be empty, right, and the other glass you just fill with water. All the means whatever the amount of the water can be possible to fill the glass, you just add the water. Now in the glass which is already having the water, just add some extra water. So what will happen, the extra water will be come out from the glass, it will not be settle into the glass. So why it is happen, why the extra amount of the water will be come out, because there is no place in that glass, all the space will be occupied from the before only with the water. So that is whatever the extra amount of the water you are adding, that will coming out. So there is no any space are there. So this proves, so that glass or the water that is occupying the space. So whatever the amount we have added in already, that already occupy the space of the glass. Now there is no more space for the water. So whatever the extra amount you are adding into the water, it will coming out. So it will prove, so it will prove the mass or the matter will occupy the space, it is occupying the space there. That is why there is no any place for the extra water, right. If you are adding the water into the empty glass, it will add up to the limit whatever the requirement or whatever the space are there. After fulfilling the space, you cannot add the more water, because the water will occupy the space, right. In the second activity, what you have to do, place the empty glass in tumbler on one filled with water and one and the other one on the weighing balance. So in the weighing balance you are putting two glasses, one glass you can see it's an empty glass, another glass with the water. So the pan with the glass of the water tilts to one side, and this shows the water has a mass. In the first activity we have just observed the water will occupy the space, but in the second activity we will observe the water have the mass. Because of the mass only, the glass which is containing the water, it will the weighing balance will be tilting this side, because it is having the mass, or the glass which doesn't having the water inside, it will going upward direction. So this activity will again prove the water having the mass, or water is also made by such kind of the matters. So it will also prove the matter will occupy the space and water, or the matter having the mass. So because of the mass only, the glass filled with the water will be tilted one side, and which is empty, that will go upside. So this is with the help of this activity we can be understand what is the definition we have said of for the any matter. But in this activity we have taken an example for the matter, that is a liquid matter, right. So liquid matter also occupy the space and having the mass. Now in the second activity we will just take the example for the same thing, that again we have to prove that the matter having the mass or occupy the space. So in that again you have to take two balloons, right, and what you have to do, just blow the air into both the balloons and just put into the scale, and while you are putting onto the balance, the scale will be stay in the middle, right, because both the balloons having the equal amount of the air. That is why the scale is not tilting to one side and not going up in one side, because both the balloons having the air and it is equal inflated balloon. So it will the scale will stop in the middle. So it will prove both the balloons having the air. So air also having the mass, it will prove, right, because if both the balloons having the same kind of the same amount of the air, that is why it is holding in a middle, the needle will be stopped in the middle, because both the balloons having the equal amount of the air. So air having the mass, that is why it is having such kind of the weight, and it is holding in one side. Now what you will do, puncture one balloon. When you are doing a puncture to one balloon, so all the air from the balloon will be removed from the balloon. So there is no weight, means there is the less weight, because air is removed, or air will be go out from the balloon. So what will happen, the second balloon which having now more air, so because of the more air there is more mass of that air, so it will tilted into one side. So air occupy the space and having the mass, air occupy the space, because you are when you are blowing the balloon, you can be blow the balloon up to a several limits, right, up to a limit of the balloon, because it is occupying the space and balloon will be blow before the balloon is not in a same shape, because after blowing the air into the balloon will be becoming bigger. So that prove the air will occupy the space, because of the space of occupying the space only the balloon will be blow. And when you are making the balance, you can feel the, you can also have the idea about the mass. When you are puncturing one balloon, so other balloon will be come down and the scale will go in a one side, it will tilted in one side, because air also having the mass. So because of the mass only, there the one balloon will be go into one side and it will tilted in one side. So in this activity also we can be proof that the matter or the air will made by some matter that is also having the that is also occupy the space and having the mass. So this in this activity we have just talk about the air, right, because the matter is made by all the things, like matter will be made by solid, matter will be made by air, or some matter will can also see the liquid. So we have seen these activities to show the liquid also have the mass and occupy the space, and gas also having the mass and occupy the space. Or in the next activity, this can be done by the children. In this activity we will also see the same thing, the gas will occupy the space. In that, what you have to take a one plastic bottle, or then you have to just put the one balloon onto that mouth of the bottle. You can see this next diagram. In this, what we have taken one bottle and we have put it on the mouth, we have just fixed one balloon, deflated balloon, and you can be press the balloon, we can easily you can press the balloon. But what we have to do afterwards, just inflate the balloon, just blow the balloon, and then just fix the balloon onto the mouth of the bottle, because empty bottle also having the space, having the air. So already the space of the bottle will occupy the air, and then when you are blowing the balloon and then just you are fixing to the mouth of the bottle, so balloon's air cannot be go inside, and when you are pressing the balloon, the air the balloon cannot be remove the air from the balloon, because the air is already present into the bottle, will not allowing the other extra air to come inside the bottle. So that is why no, because the space inside the bottle is occupied by the air already, and there is no space left for the balloon to be inflated. And then it's proof that although air is invisible, yet it occupies the space. When you are looking any empty container or any empty bottle, so we can just think there is nothing inside the bottle, but no, there is a air present in the empty container or empty bottle, and air's molecule also occupy the space, and it is also having the mass. So that is why the other more air cannot be go inside the bottle, right. So these are some activities which are looking, which can be prove our definition that the matter will have the space and have the mass and occupy the space. And this one more thing we have to just see here, that the body weight 6 Newton on the earth will weight only 1 n on the moon, means like whatever the weight we are looking means your body weight, whatever the weight is present onto the earth, it will reduce onto the moon. So n is the symbol of the Newton. If your weight or the body weight is 6 Newton in on the earth, so when you are going to weight on a moon, it will show the 1 Newton only, which is the standard unit of SI unit of the force, and it is named after the Sir Isaac Newton. He was a famous scientist who has discovered this Newton. It will prove the pressure. Okay, so now what will happen, why it is happening like this, it recognition of the work in the classical mechanics, and it will show that the mass and weight are different forms of each other. We cannot say mass and weight are same. Mass is different and weight is different. What we are doing here, we are checking the body weight, so that is a different. But when you are talking about the mass, that is a different. Why? Because mass is quantity of the matter, and weight is a force which is applying from the earth to pull the body towards itself. Mass, whatever the quantity are there, whatever the mass are means present in our body, that is our mass. But what is the weight? While the earth gravitational force will applying the force on the body, So that is called our weight. That is why the mass of a body does not change. Material in our body will be becoming same, either I am standing on a earth or either I am standing on a moon. So whatever the mass is present in my body, the mass of my muscles or bones or blood, whatever the mass are present in my body, it will become same when I am standing on the earth or when I am standing on a moon. It will not reduce, but the force of gravitational is changed, because earth having different kind of the force of gravitation, earth having more force of gravitation as compared to the moon. So that is why when I am checking my weight on the earth, so I will see the weight that is more, and when I am going to the moon, the force of gravitation of the moon is less. That is why the weight will becoming less. So that is why the mass of the body does not change, but weight changes from place to place. Mass will be same whenever or wherever, which other planet also you will go and check the mass will becoming same, but the weight of the body will be changed on different place to place. That is because of the gravitational force. So that is why this is the very important thing you have to just keep in your mind, that is a mass is different and weight is different. Mass, the body will having which kind of the whatever amount of the mass or the things or the matter in your body, that is called the mass, but the weight is what are the force is applied by the earth or any other planet you can visit. So the force will applied on your body, that is your weight. So it will be changed from place to place. So now in the next slide we will just talk about composition and characteristics of matter. What is composition? What are characteristics? So composition means which kind of the things will make your mass. What is the composition of the mass? Whether it is made by the solid, whether it is made by the liquid. So now you know that all the substances are made up of matter, but what is matter made up of? Until this all the discussion we have just discussed about whatever the things we are looking around us, they are made by the matter, and matter can be solid, can be liquid, can be gas. Now there is a question, what is made to the matter? What is or matter made by which kind of the things? What is the smallest unit for the matter, right? So that is why the definition will come like this. Anything will be made by the matter, and what is made to the matter, which kind of the things are there which will be made our matter. So that will be a atom. Atom is the smallest quantity that will made any matter. Number of atoms will come together and they will make the matter. The atoms will be different for solid, for liquid, for gas, but it is called the atom only. Atom is the smallest quantity. So number of atoms will come together and they will make the molecules, and the molecules will make the matter. What is molecules? We will discuss in our next lecture, but just think the sequence and just keep in the sequence in your mind. Atoms is the smallest unit that will come together and they will make the molecules, and molecules will come together and they will make any matter, whether it is solid, liquid or gas. So that is why this sequence, like when we are talking about, when we are just taking the lecture about cell or our body. So I have already told you the number of cell will come together, they will make the tissues or muscles. A number of muscles and tissue, they will make the organs. Number of organs will make the system. Number of systems will make our body. So like that we have to just keep the sequence in the mind. Atoms, then molecules, and then matter. With matter we can make the different kind of the things. So on this topic we will talk in detail in the next lecture. So we will stop here in this lecture and see you in the next lecture. Take care.